most of the time, let me tell you what I learned when I was like partying and going to events and all that shit. Most of the time, most guys get girls or get access to people based on the environment they're in, proximity. That's probably the biggest thing I learned. Even even at your job, think about it. Even at your job, um, some of the people at your job you probably would never meet if you didn't work with them. You wouldn't, because y'all don't go in the same circles frequently. Y'all don't frequent the same circles. Just like the internet give us a chance to give us access to certain people that at least give you the possibility to meet them anyway. But y'all don't frequent the same circles. Y'all don't go to the same place. Y'all don't probably drive the same car, and fly on the same airline. You know what I'm saying? I can go on and on. Sometimes just being in a certain environment, surrounded by certain people, just that makes you look different, give you more opportunity to meet people and to meet women. The women come along with it. The women are like icing on the cake. I don't know about everyone going out to have fun, but you know, everybody ain't built to go out and have fun. You know, there's some people that should never go out. You know, really. I think some people should never go to the nightclub. I don't. No. Getting women through proximity don't work for black men. It's all about exposure, word of mouth, and popularity you have to meet women and people through promoting yourself like a product. No, no. I think some things work for some guys and some things don't. I don't think there's an absolute when it comes to anything. What worked for one black man might not work for the other black man. You know, that's how that is. That's what I've found to be true. You know, you don't have everybody's not going to be a good promoter. And everybody's not going to be good at that. No, that's just that. Just that being a good promoter, promoting yourself like a product. If you led with that, most guys would flop. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. You know, that I'm telling you, that's not gonna work. You know, I wouldn't even tell anybody, any man or any woman to do that. That's not gonna work. If that's all you had, if that's the best tool you had in your toolbox to promote yourself like a product, no. What I would lead with is be the best you can be, build yourself up, try and make as much money as you can, and invest the little bit of money that you have left over. And, get your gear right, and and learn how to spit that hot fire. That's what I would lead with. I wouldn't tell a guy, hey, you need to promote yourself like it's like you have a product. No, that's most guys that's gonna flop. That ain't gonna work. Now that's not gonna work, you know. But there's no absolutes. What works for one guy might not work for the other guy. I don't know why. That's just how it is. You know, that's just how it is. I'll give you another. I'll give you an example. I've been doing YouTube channels. I've been building YouTube channels. I don't know for what 15 years now. If you give me 10 people, I'll tell 10 people, all 10 people to do the same thing. Because I do the same thing with all the channels, right? Out of 10 people, some people, it just ain't going to work. And for different reasons. And that's just how it is. It's because there's no, some things work for some people, some things don't. There's no one shoe that fits this person or that person when it comes to being on video or being on YouTube. YouTube, you got the algorithm. People discriminate a lot. People fuck with the accounts on YouTube. All kinds of stuff that happens. That's how you know the game is rigged. That's how you know the game is rigged. Where I just started a new channel, 8 months ago. And that new channel gets more views than the old channels. So that's how you know the game is rigged. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about somebody else now, you know. I'm saying you gotta, like, if I'm gonna tell somebody to do something, what I'm gonna tell them is gonna be the best possible outcome that's been proven to work over time, over a long period of time. That's what I lead with. I'm not gonna tell somebody to do something that it might work or it might not work. In most cases, or in most cases, it's been proven not to work. I wouldn't lead with that, but that's just me. That's just me, though. Well, I know one thing. I was taught that if you talk good, if you look good, you talk good, you smell good, that's a good place to start. And then you work on getting your money up, or your income's in order, you know? And you want to have multiple streams of income. That's how I was taught at a young age. And that don't mean I gotta be suited and booted all the time, but you gotta feel good about what you're wearing. You look good, you talk good, you feel good, you spitting game. You know, usually something positive usually come out of that, out of those habits. That's how I was taught growing up. You know, I don't know about anybody else. Some people were raised differently, but that's how I was raised. And my mom and my dad gave me the game early. I was about, I don't know what, 10 years old, something like that. They gave me the game early. And see, I watch my mom and dad interact with each other, and interact with other people too. So I kind of mimic that growing up, and I still do, still to this day. Now, I'm not as even half as good with people as my parents are. Not even half. Now, if I could I always said, if I could be at least half of what who my parents was, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that if I could be at least half of who they was. Hopefully I'll get there. Hopefully I'll get there. You know? And I was also taught that and I never had the result. I never had to go to no any legal activity growing up. I didn't have to go that route, and a lot of that was because based on my parents, my upbringing. I never had to do that, and I had an old hustler tell me that you're not cut out to be out in them streets. You're not built like that. And he respectively he told me that out of respect. He said, you're not cut out to be like that. So I said, why is that? Because he said, at some point you're gonna have to pull out on somebody, and you might have to represent. And he said, if you're not built like that, because he knew my parents, so he already knew me. He said, I know your mom and your dad, and I know you're not cut out like that, like I am, you know. So at the time, I think he was just getting out the military. He was just getting out the military at the time. Yeah. So if you ever been in the military, you know what I'm talking about. You have to be of a certain mindset. So basically, he told me he applied the street rules, and being in the military is just the mindset is kind of similar, because we can go back and forth. You know, it's a mentality that you have to have. Most people that haven't been in the military, they don't understand. They don't even understand what I'm talking about right now. So, so I'm gonna stop talking about that. I'm gonna move on from that. You know.